Welcome to this episode of Mistress of Change, brought to you by House of Preeminence and the Preeminence Rising platform. Now, my beautiful change makers out there, so many of you are motivated by your purpose, by your why, by your heart, and more you are leaning into having a soul-aligned life. What does that mean, a soul-aligned life? And to answer that question and to explore what it can do for you, I have brought in somebody today who is not just an expert on a soul-aligned life. She is a soul blazer. So stay tuned to ignite your soul, to blaze your soul. And please welcome with me the amazing Lisa Haisha, who has been so many things. She has been in television. She has also interviewed some top leaders, and she is the founder of the method which she calls SoulBLAZER, and she has just got a big surprise for you. And so we're going to dive right in. So welcome, Lisa.
Hi, so good to be here. Thank you so much.
Okay, so what is exactly, to tell us what SoulBLAZER is. This is the name that you've given to your approach to aligning with your authenticity, which is something that change makers and heart-led people want. What is SoulBLAZER?
SoulBLAZER is a process that I created to strip you of the masks you wear to protect yourself. When you're not your authentic self, nothing in your life works because you're trying to be someone else. You're trying to please. And we have to remember that you have to be yourself because everyone else is taken. And if you're not yourself, you're not giving your gift to the world. We're all born with a gift inside us, and we're meant to discover that gift, then give it away. So what is your gift? And that is SoulBLAZER. We help unravel that puzzle, then show you how to give it away authentically.
That's exciting. So you mentioned this word imposters. So what is it about imposters that stops us showing up as our authentic self, Lisa?
Yes, we've all heard of imposter syndrome, where you feel, I've worked with so many people, and my husband created the 2 top sitcoms ever, 2.5 Men and Big Bang Theory. I worked with a lot of actors, a lot of high achievers. I modeled in Tokyo. I worked with the top businessmen, billionaires, millionaires, and everyone across the board. And so many of them felt like they were imposters. They're like, I don't know why I'm here. I'm fooling everyone. I'm not the best actor. I'm not the best business, whatever it is. And it's just like, that is so fascinating to me. So I started going, let me make notes about what are people saying and what causes this. And then I was doing that. I've done this to over thousands of people because I've been doing it for about 25 years all over the globe. And I started looking at that going, oh, this person is a seductor. They use this person is a narcissist. This person is an overthinker. They never got anything done. I had so many clients because I work with legacy also. And what do you want your legacy to be? And they're like, oh, I wanted to do this, but I never had the time, or I never got my act together to do it. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So that's the overthinker, the procrastinator, where you're never good enough, or it's not good enough to be put out there. So once you get those and they're defined, so I found 7 that were very common. So those are the ones I use. So the imposters, I call them, they're the showstoppers, and they live on the stage of your brain, making decisions for you. They are your voice when you're reacting to something. Then you go, God, I shouldn't have said that, or I should have handled that differently, because we're trained to snap at people, or to defend ourselves, or to be loved or liked. What does that person need to see or hear? Or I feel offended, let me attack. So if you could take a pause and say, oh, that's that imposter. And if you name it, you could claim it, you'll know what it is, and then you could heal it. So, oh, that's Mary. When I was a kid, Mary did this to me, and she said, I'm stupid and I'm never going to amount to anything. Or, this person said I'm fat and I'm ugly, so I'm always going to think I'm fat and ugly. So I try to please and be the seductor to show that I'm sexy, or whatever it is. I've seen so many issues. And it's like, oh my God, something that happened to someone, sometimes for 5 minutes in their life, someone said one thing, that voice translates to 20, 30, 40, 50 years of their life. because my dad said this, or my teacher told me that, or a boyfriend. So soul blazing is a wonderful different process. Instead of just talking to someone, we get it in your body. You know, I studied acting and I studied the Groundlings, the famous Groundlings Theater, which is all improv. And it's so juicy with helping you create characters and over the top. So in a soul blazing and workshops, I have you create who you think you are over the top and with these different characters. It's hilarious. It's fun. And then you could poke fun at yourself and say, oh my God, now I get it. And you could start to change because you're okay. Everything about you is just fine, but your imposter is not. That damn imposter is destroying your life. So you befriend that imposter. And again, I've worked with a lot of the top thought leaders. You know, Byron Katie's one of my favorites. And she says, oh, you could get rid of that side. I don't believe that. I haven't found that to be true. I think that you have to befriend and love all aspects of yourself, because if you don't love pieces of you, you're going to still act out, and because you're going to feel I'm not good enough. Once you could truly love and accept yourself, and that really means accepting your wounded inner child, our little boy or little girl inside of us, and nurturing that. Because anytime you're attacking or not feeling loved, it's that little child not feeling something, and you have to give it nurturing. And once you befriend it and say, look, we're on the same team, we both want this and that, then I call it making a deal with that inner child. And one of the exercises I have people do is to write down the name of their inner child. Let's just say Mary for now, then your authentic soul. So it's like a journal. Mary saying, I feel unsafe because someone said this to me, whatever it is. Then your authentic soul say, well, how do you feel about that? When did that happen? Tell me the story where that thought originated. Then Mary could say, oh, when I was 5, there was this girl in school who did this, and authentic soul could explain it. And when you do that dialogue, you start to understand and know that character so well, and you could feel compassion for that side. And then that's where the growth happens. I have seen it so many times, and it's so powerful and it's so exciting. And I don't think there's anything better on the planet than watching people have their aha moment of going, oh, I'm a fractured self, you know, with their schizophrenia and all that, you know. So it's really the same thing, but a much lighter level of these characters are all built, and they come out when needed, and then they go back into hiding. And you're like, what just happened there? Why did I blow that job opportunity? Why did I break up that relationship? How come my love life isn't working? It's because you're not working. You're letting all these aspects take over. So once I call it like a pit bull, you know, they're known to attack people and bite people or turn on their owners. If they're trained, they're the best dogs on the planet. They're protective and they're so loving and playful and sweet. So you got to train your imposters like a pit bull, because then you could unleash them when you need them to bite, but you unleash them, you're in charge. They're not just attacking someone you love, or you're attacking yourself. They're trained, but if you need them, you can use them.
I really love this idea of harnessing them and training them when you need it, rather than just trying to get rid of them and kind of heal yourself as though these bits of you are wrong. Because that's I do agree with you. It's this whole thing of, like, you know, trying to kind of cut off the bits that aren't right about us. It kind of perpetuates the pain and the suffering. But the way that you're talking about personifying them, making them, or kind of recognizing them as a personification of an aspect of you, and then playing with them, especially in the acting world as well. It sounds so fun. I'm like,
Fun.
I'm like, bring mine on. Just like,
yes.
I'm like, oh, I want to find out what my imposters are. And they, now listening to you, I don't think they're probably what I thought they were going to be. So it's so interesting that people of every level of, you know, of financial achievement and success also feel this as much as you know, people who haven't yet achieved their achieve the financial material gain. So what you're saying is that these guys can potentially keep you under your life potential.
They do. They do. And the ones that it hasn't stopped them because they're like, I'm a motherfucker, I'm a narcissist, I'm going to kill, they're not happy. And I've talked to so many of them, even in writers' rooms of these big shows. Oh, another soul-sucking day. What? You've got the best job on the planet and making gazillions of dollars with fun, interesting, smart, funny people, and you get to see your work every week on TV and making millions of people happy. Another soul-sucking day? Are you kidding me? And that's when I go, okay, we've got work to do. Let me roll up my sleeves and let's play, because this is what's happening. You should not be so unhappy when you have one of the best jobs on the planet. Laughing all day is your job, making jokes. Okay, come on, with fun people. So those are some of the best people to work with. Or again, when I was modeling in Tokyo, some of these billionaires or top fashion designers or top businessmen, the financiers, are so unhappy. And I'm like, why? And when we break it down, it all comes down to something in childhood that made them be possessed with being the best and making the most money so they'll be loved. So it's like, okay, you have that now. Now let's go backwards and fix that so you can actually enjoy your wealth, enjoy your freedom that wealth brings, and create authentic relationships. And not everyone's out to get me, and I got to be careful, and I'm not going to treat all the time, or I'm not going to do all the things that they think everyone just, they like you for your money then, or what you can do for them, or they want financing for their projects. It's like, that's what you're putting off because you still want to be loved. Stop putting off that energy and you're not going to get that anymore. So it's really just a trick, because people don't know, but on your forehead is really written who you are. When you walk in a room or someone meets you, when I wrote and directed a feature called Psycho Sushi about a girl who goes to Japan and models. And when people walked in the room, they didn't even have to speak for the different parts. They walk in, I'm like, they're not right. They're not right. Or, oh, that person's probably right. Then let's see if they got the acting chops. You know, I could just say, thank you for coming in as soon as they walk through the door. Once they shake my hand, if I don't get it when they come, I know right then and there what it is. Some people come in and they start kissing your hand, and oh, it's like, oh, go away. That's your seductor. That means you're not confident, you're not good enough, and you're trying to use this trick. Or someone who comes in and acts too arrogant of, let me see the role, I'd like to change this and that. You're like, oh, you're going to be a piece of work. You're this, you could see all their issues coming out. And it's just fascinating to me. And it's like, wow, if someone worked with these people, what would that look like? And this is when I was just starting it out, and I'm just like, oh, there's something here. So I started creating it. Well, I was an actress too. So while I was in acting, while I was in this, when I was working as a producer, I worked for the BBC too. So when I worked with all these different people, I started taking notes. Then I started coaching when I got, went to school to get my master's degree. And then I started working in prisons. And I thought, wow, the lifers in prison are the same as the billionaires in Tokyo, or the multi-millionaires in Hollywood, and the actors and the struggling ones and the homeless. I work with foster kids and the homeless. I spent 5 years going to 15 countries working in orphanages, and wrote a book called Whispers from Children's Hearts. And those orphans that I talked to and interviewed are the same as the billionaires, same as the Hollywood stars. And it's like, same as the housewives or just CEOs of companies. We're all human beings, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So we're all here the same. It's just, we're all clay. And it's like, oh, I'm going to mold myself into this, but the issues are still there because they weren't handled. So soul blazing is transforming all the aspects of yourself that are holding you back into your superpowers, where they actually help you and launch who your authentic soul is. And when you hit who your authentic soul is, that's when nirvana sets in, where everything just starts working out. People have told me, oh, your life just works out, it unfolds. No, it's because I did all this work. So I catch myself when I'm doing something, or if someone's attacking me, I don't attack back. I just went, oh, how sweet, they're imposters out. Isn't that nice? I don't feel a need to go, oh yeah, well, because it doesn't matter. And even if you do that, it's just going to be conflict because the other person can't hear. They're so, standing in their power of that imposter of this is who I am. And it will take years if they're not a fast learner or willing. So it's not even worth it. You just say, okay, you be you. And that's it. Here's a soul blazing card if you want help. But yeah, you can't change people. They have to want to change themselves.
That is so true. I'm actually just thinking of a recent situation that came up when that I didn't quite know how to handle, and now I'm going to go back and look at it from from the possibility that they had this kind of imposter. So can you share the seven archetypes with us?
Yes, it's the overthinker, the judge, the fixer, the seductor, the joker, the did I say overthinker?
Yes.
Yeah, the overthinker. Hang on. Let me see. Which one didn't I say? Did I say the fixer?
Yeah.
So the victim, egotist, seductor, right, joker, fixer, overthinker, and the judge. And then there's the authentic soul.
And can you be more than one of these? Can you have one?
Oh yeah, I think we're all of them. Here's like the little visual of them. And yes, I think we all have an aspect of each one because we're so multidimensional, especially creatives. And on my website, you could take the imposter quiz and find out which one's your dominant one. I found people usually live from a main one, but then they have these other ones that come into play when needed. Like you could be the egotist to become a successful CEO, and you could dominate, try to be the smartest and outmaneuver other people. But then you'll also have the judge a little of, I'm better than them. And let me, condemn them for this, condemn for that. And you could be the seductor sometimes, Harvey Weinstein's and stuff, and say, oh, in order to do this, you have to do that, so you have all these characters that play out, but you have your main character. And then it's almost like you send out your other imposters to get what you want. Okay, you go do this, like they're your assistants. You go get this, I want that. Then that character forms, and then you go back to your egotist. Your seductor comes out, you go back to your egotist. Your fixer, oh, I want to help other people, if that's your thing. Mainly people do that because they are afraid of helping themselves and standing in their power, but they're smart and they're good. So they go, let me go and help other people become who they want to be. But then you're always feeling, oh, what about me? Or why can't I do this? So then that's when other things come in. You start, oh, I'm a victim. Oh, people aren't helping me as much as I'm helping them. Or you're your overthinker. What can I do to do? So it's really fascinating. But once you take the imposter quiz, find out who your dominant imposter is, and then you start looking at what else do I have in there? Then you start seeing them come up. I did a teriyaki burger commercial. This was way back when I was just starting this. And it was 500 people. It was an open audition. And I was one of the first there because I wanted to get in and make an impression, but it was one of my first auditions. And I went in there and they gave me the script, you hand in your picture and resume. They give you a little script that you want, you look it over and you're saying, okay. So they said, okay, sit in this chair. We want you to be working. And then the phone's going to ring over there. Get up, walk over there with a burger, taking bites, pick it up and say, mushy mush and talk a little, hang up, go back to your desk, take a bite and say, oishi desu for the burger. I'm like, oh, that's so easy. Of course I'll do it. But then I was in my head, how many bites should I take if I'm talking and chewing, and do I talk and walk? And, because you just have one shot, just do it, not rehearsal. And then at the end of it, they're like, oh, thank you very much. And then Hollywood speak, that means you suck, go home, you're never going to hear from us. I'm like, I got home, oh, that was $25,000, I just flew it, oh my God. So then I start, as some people do, we go through our apartment and I'm doing it out going, it's so easy, because once you're not under pressure, you know exactly what to do. So I went back before 5 o'clock. I went back at about 4:30 before auditions. It was one of the last people, but I changed my hairstyle, changed my clothes, brought another photo. And I went there and they said, boy, you look familiar. I said, oh, I work all the time. You must have seen me in other commercials, They're like, oh, okay, this is what we want you to do. And then I went and did it, and I did it perfectly. And then they said, wow, you're really good. And then they're going through the pictures. Wait, isn't this you? I'm like, oh, that's my twin sister. She's a horrible actress. Oh my God, she can't afford her own headshots. Was she here? They're like, yeah, she was bad. And I'm like, not me. Please don't judge me based on that. By the time I got home, I had a call saying I got the job, and that's $25,000. And then while I was doing the commercial, once I was finished, I said, you know what? That was me, I confess. And we had a good laugh about it. I said, I knew that that wasn't my authentic soul doing it. It was me being nervous, wanting to please you. But once you change the paradigm of, I'm not here to please you. I am here to do the best job I can do to create a good commercial for this product. Not will you like me, but you will like me because I'm authentic. And once you flip that switch and you do that in your relationships, you do that in work, everything changes. You're not on trial anymore. You're not being up there, first date. You know, you don't look at the other person, oh, they're judging me. They're asking me questions. I feel that you go there and going, wow, you're lucky to be with me because I'm awesome. Who are you? And I'm going to look for your positive stuff, not what's wrong with you and all the excuses of why I can't make this relationship work. You know, you start going, oh God, I have friends that are going out and dating now. They're like, oh, he had this, he wore this. As soon as I saw him, I didn't like those jeans, or I didn't like that. And then he said that. It's like, what happened that was positive? What if you went there saying, what a beautiful soul that I'm about to meet? And even if it's not a love connection, I'm going to learn and grow from this person, because we all have something to share. None of us are whole and complete. And I am constantly learning, and curiosity, I think, is the best thing in the world, because the more curious you are, the more exciting even the most banal thing becomes, because you could turn it into that, because that's our superpower. And when you turn everything into that, that's when you learn. Then you could go, oh, wow, that imposter is coming out with this person. I wonder why. Why am I overthinking, thinking they're judging me or this or that? Why am I going into the victim mode, not speaking so much because I don't think they really care about me, because they're talking so much that they must not care about what I have to say. Then you start, oh, let me not say as much. You start editing yourself, and that's when everything goes wrong. So it's really fun.
That is so fascinating. So is the objective behind this is it's not getting rid of your archetypes. It's if I'm understanding rightly, it's understanding them, understanding which parts of you are playing out, and then which part of you then, what do you do to get to that pure aligned soul then?
What do you mean? What do you do? How do you get there?
Are you, is that, how do you know which is the real you?
Because it's your authentic soul. When things start to really work out for you, because when your personality, which is your imposters, are in alignment with your authentic soul, that's when everything starts to work out. That's when you meet people and you go, oh, wow, I just met a new best friend, or just met a person that I really want to date, and it worked out because you're being you. Oh, I'm going for this job interview, or my depression is fading, or I'm liking myself more. I'm doing more self-care. I'm actually showering every day, or I'm exercising, doing yoga. I'm meditating. I'm journaling with my different personality types, my different imposters. You know, I'm really taking time into nurturing me. And once you start nurturing you and loving you, you know you're closer to your authentic soul, because that's what you would do. Because if your cup isn't full, you can't help other people, or you're going to want to be a taker. Give me, because I'm so lacking. Give me love. Do things for me. What am I getting out of this situation? What's in it for me? And when you have all of that dialogue going on, there's no way you're in your authentic soul. But once you start going, what can I do for someone else? Or, oh, I have this surprise for someone else and I don't care what I get back. That's when you know you've arrived. And it's always work though. I don't think you ever arrive, because life every day goes, oh, you got to that level. Here's another package. Unfold this, unravel this. Oh, you did that. Now try this one. And it's like, oh my God, no. So one of my friends was really great. She was doing wonderful, saying, oh my God, I'm so much better now from a year working with you. And now everything's perfect. I have my dream home. She got married. She had all this beautiful jewelry. They went to India and bought like $20,000 worth of stuff and all this stuff just for her, like for all her functions that she's doing as an actress. And I went, oh my God, you like arrived, but be careful, because there's always the next step. Never get too comfortable. Then her house got robbed. Someone came in, stole everything, broke the windows, and it's like, she's like, oh my God, oh, my beautiful dresses. And I'm like, okay, that's next level. How are you going to react? Are you going to react or are you going to respond? Are you going to say, oh, those people needed it more than I do? Because there's nothing you can do about it. Not saying it's okay, but are you going to sit there and cry and be a victim and be scared and put locks on all your windows and doors and bars and never go out? You have to accept it and say, what was that about? Why was I chosen to get robbed? What happened there? Why am I the victim? And you have to work with that and just offer it up as a gift and say, okay, now let me start over again. And that's so hard to do, because even if your car gets broken into, we feel so violated. And a house and with all your precious stuff and someone just defiling everything and dumping all your drawers out, it's awful. But it was like, wow, as soon as she said, I think I'm good and I think I'm on the right track, and she's like, oh, I need more work because I'm freaking out. So the universe will always give you something else to work on once you think you're okay. So it's an ongoing journey. I travel and 100 things happen when I travel. I constantly, this happened, that, of course you always say, oh, it was a beautiful trip. But along that way, the trains got delayed or things got stolen or your hotel, you didn't get, something always happens, but you just have to be on the ride and flow. And once you flow and that's part of life, especially now with COVID, it's very hard.
It's so interesting. I was actually I just have to bring in a personal observation to that happened just so recently this last weekend, because I'm often congratulating myself for my beautiful life. It's like, I'm just like, oh, I'm so lucky. Just, I get to live with a beautiful man and I'm in a beautiful home in a beautiful place doing amazing work. And then last weekend, we have got an absolutely insane neighbor who chose last weekend to start dishing out death threats all over the place and have reap gang terrorism in the hamlet. And I'm like, how is this happening? It's like, what is going on? It's like, this is my beautiful life. It's like, what happened where something or somebody just came in and it does. It's like, well, did I attract this? What's happening now?
Yes. Yes, that's the times we're living in. There's a lot of crime in my neighborhood too now. They started in Beverly Hills, they conquered that, then they went to Encino, now my area. And I told the police officers, what do we do? He said, it's time to start hiring gang members, like to protect you. I'm like, oh my God, that's your answer? So yeah, it's a time that we have to just go in and, really focus and visualize ourselves being safe and our house being safe. And I don't attract that energy and, just going into that place, because that's all we can do, because nothing is safe anymore. Our life the world is going through a spiritual transformation right now. I think almost every country has got something huge going on right now.
Absolutely. So I'm thinking of two beautiful contexts for this work with our audience, with our change maker female entrepreneurs. Is first of all, they understand about the importance of alignment for those breakthroughs, for that evolution in their business, in their life, and you described it so beautifully. But I'm also thinking of it in the context of their messaging, because messaging is a huge thing. The message we put out there as change makers. What's my message? What am I actually communicating to the world? It's the thing, it's like I want to be clear about my message. And I could see how potentially disruptive some of those those archetypes are to the authenticity of the message. And you're right, people often say, well, I feel like an imposter.
Yeah, they're not accepting that they're worthy. And they put a lot of work to get to where they are. But a lot of times what I found, especially in the acting world, there's been a lot of compromises along the way to get to where they are. And shame comes in, guilt comes in, so they can't enjoy it. So they start squandering their money or turning into drug addicts or whatever because of the journey or the choices they've made along the way, or not being the best parent, something they let slide. And that's what they focus on. So if we could help people really make the right choices where their imposters aren't making the choices for them, because they're usually the convenient choices. And the authentic soul is a visionary of saying, oh, this is where our life journey is going to go. Then the imposters are saying, wait, here's a shortcut. Here's a shortcut. And when you do those shortcuts, you're compromising yourself and putting yourself in a situation where you're going to have shame and guilt. And when that seeps in, you can't have authentic relationships because you have secrets, and secrets kill. And that's what causes disease. And that's what causes dysfunction in relationships and with your own self. Then your self becomes fractured. And when that's fractured, you're never going to do your best work. And that's when you start drinking to get to your best work. I've got to get out of my head. Let me do drugs. Let me do this. And then it starts escalating and your life starts to go downhill. So it is such important work to get to know all your fractured selves. And if you've done those things, do a forgiveness process, own it, say it out loud, and tell, a therapist or a group. I have little soul blazing groups where I used to take them on retreats, and we do work for, I was doing the orphanage, journey. So we'd go to different houses or orphanages, and we'd say, be Oprah, we've got all this money. What do you need? You need bunk beds, you need goats, you need chickens, you need this and clothes. And we build someone's house over a week and hire local people to do it. And then we would leave. And that would always be so powerful, because then when we would do our circle, our soul blazing circle, we would be able to, we just light candles and it's dark, and we share what's something we have shame about, what's something we have guilt about. Once we've done the imposter work of, my imposter chose this choice for me, this imposter chose that for me. And once you start going, wow, this is what happens, and this is what the imposters are, you could really start to heal them and saying, that wasn't me, that was that imposter who made the choice, and now I'm suffering. And once you heal that and go, okay, I accept that, that was a part of me, then you're okay, because you've accepted it, because you can't change it. And not being afraid of it and just saying it, this was part of my journey. And everyone has skeletons, and everyone's had a journey. And if someone judges you for it, that's on them, but you're set free.
I love that. So
yeah,
drum roll, exciting now, because you've got a book coming out.
Yes, I do. Soul blazing, and it's very exciting. It's coming out on Amazon on the 8th, so go buy it on the 8th. And I'm having a big book launch party on the 12th, and that's going to be exciting with the press here and the whole thing and the red carpet. And it's very exciting because this is the first time it's actually in book form where people could read it and really understand it, because I have it broken up by each imposter in 3 different sections. I'll show you. So it's like each imposter has its own chapter, and then I have tools and different things you can do to apply to your daily life, and exercises that if you do these exercises, it starts getting you more honed into your imposters. Then it just talks about who your imposters are and how they could be your superpower or your saboteur. They could go either way. So once you befriend them, they become your superpower. If you don't, they're your saboteur in life, and what that dynamic is and how that, works. So it's fun. It's a super easy read. It's a fun read, a playful read that has, some juicy depth to it. So it's not heavy reading. So someone could get through it probably in 3 hours, but then you have to take your time and go, which one's me? And just really go over that chapter and then do the exercises focused on that imposter. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
I'm doing Zooms, so I could create one in France too. So
Awesome. That's so
yeah,
exciting. I love books like that where you can actually just start to apply it to yourself and start to work on your life. Those are the best. So I am so excited to be sharing this news with our audience, because just listening to you, I'm like everybody needs this. Everybody needs this soul blazing tool.
yes. And it's fun. It's not
fun.
like therapy. So many people say, I don't want therapy, or the stigma of therapy. This is like you're going to acting class, but getting the bonus, getting your soul healed, and you're getting more authentic, and you're aligning your personality with the soul. You know, it's like all this underlying stuff, but you could just say, I'm doing acting classes, you know, so it's no shame. So it's really great on so many levels.
Well, congratulations. I am really, really, really happy to be one of the first people that can share this news with the world. So you mentioned a quiz. Is it a quiz or a questionnaire or something people that can do online as well?
Yes, it's on soulblazing.com.
Okay, and the book's going to be up on Amazon, usual place.
It's up now. You could pre-order, but on the 8th, it's available. Yes. So very.
And the Zooms you just mentioned?
The Zoom, if you go to my website, soulblazing.com, sign up for the newsletter, and then in a comment box, you could say, I'd love to join a Zoom. And if you want to create it in France, we could create that too. If you want to get a group of people together, and we will create that. And it's a 3-part Zoom. The first part is soul blazing. Who are you? Who are your imposters? And identifying all of that, and really fun stuff. The second part is knowing your story, then going deeper into it. Since I'm a writer also, it's about writing and writing your story and messaging. Who are you? What messages do you want out there? And then the third part is legacy. What's the vision? Where do you want all this to lead to? So it's a really great Zoom course, and you could do 1, all 3, whatever you want. But of course, it's more impactful when you follow it all the way through.
Well, Lisa, I am super excited about this, super excited about everything that I've heard today. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your beautiful work and your own beautiful soul. This is like hot. I'm really excited about getting into this and taking my life to the next level. I'm like, oh my God, I got to have some fun with this and find some shadows and things I didn't like, but it does sound like fun. So thank you so much for being with us today, and you can be sure that we will be sharing this message with the world, and we will be supplying all the links, the resources, everything that we can for people to find you online, to find this book. And so thank you. Is there anything else that you'd just like to add to our audience?
I was just going to say, with what you just said about your shadows and the sides that you don't like, that's part of the process of your shadows are really your exciting part. They're your mischievous side, and they're the devious side. So I want to help people not say they just like that side. That's your imposters. That's what I want you to love that and say, oh, all these sides, but I'm going to just make them healthier. Because when you keep all that and they're in a healthy place, how fun is that? You don't want to be a boring person. You know, milquetoast, that's the onion. Those are the wonderful, delicious parts of you that make you authentically you, but they just need to be containerized a little better. So that's going to be a fun process.
Amazing. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah. And remember, be you, everyone else is taken.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting. I can't wait. So thank you. I'm really excited about this, and bless you for coming and sharing about this beautiful work with the world.
Oh, thank you so much. This is really wonderful. And I appreciate you, honor you, and I see you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. You're welcome.